Hi, everyone. My name is Ninette Dawn, and I'm from YuJa. I'm the vice president at the company. I've been with them for 10 years. And I work with a number of institutions in the UK, and especially with digital accessibility, which is one of our core focuses in our core platforms. Today, I'm going to walk you through best practices for scaling accessibility, as I know that that is a pretty important topic in today's educational landscape. Specifically, I'm going to walk you through how to automate your accessibility, how to remediate, and then also how to provide a self-service portal for your students with alternative formats. So I'm actually going to show that to you in our product today. All right, so what you see here on my screen is basically a document that was uploaded into a virtual learning environment, specifically in Canvas. And essentially what you want in terms of automation is you would like a product that integrates deeply with the APIs within your VLE. What those APIs are going to do is it's going to afford the product to be able to scan your pages, your documents, whether they're PDFs, Excels, PowerPoints, Word documents, and then provide you with remediation, accessibility, analytics, and tell you where the issues come up within your documents and pages. So in this area, you see that we have a score here that comes from the WCAG standards. It is audited by our internal accessibility auditors, as well as how they work with our product team. When you open it up, it will preview the document, and then you'll be able to see things like the score, the breakdown, how many accessibility issues that you have, what's been identified. You should also be able to filter so that you can itemize the accessibility scores, and then you should be able to get guidance as well. So that automation, what that allows you to do is it allows you to have oversight in places that you're not able to manually scale to. Because the reality is, in the past, accommodations were given to students, based on a specific need or a request. Nowadays, with the WCAG standards and the legislation, it is required that any content published to student have the WCAG standards applied. And so this allows you to scale this throughout your institution, have faculty participate, gain guidance within that area, and then also have the tools to be able to remediate that specifically. So when you have millions of documents in your VLE, you do not have to worry if you have an automated tool that's doing that on your behalf. The next challenge that a lot of folks have is scanned PDFs. That is a very common element within the virtual learning environments. So for example, here I have a scanned textbook from David Easton. As you can see, this is a very common workflow where faculty will take a textbook that they've been using for years to teach, and then uploading it from a scan into the digital learning environment. In this situation, what we've done is we've applied what's called optical character recognition. So that's another piece of the automated that you're going to want to look for, especially with scanned PDFs. In Panorama from YuJa, we have our own internal optical character recognition engine and artificial intelligence that will essentially scan that page and digitize the text. And then what it will also do is it will allow you to go into that newly digitized text that's been tagged by the solution. You should be able to tag it appropriately. And then access the different elements to remediate within the text. This is a real crucial element to accessibility, because oftentimes faculty won't know how to create structures within scanned PDFs. So having a tool to automate that situation allows them to do that appropriately. And then also having a tool that, if they want to take it to their experts, can allow them to do things like change the element, change the language set, bookmark and create projects to do the remediation, maybe work with internal administration on that, as well as take images and produce artificial tags to them. It makes sure that even if your faculty doesn't want to participate, the automation's there for your students to be able to access it. So optical character recognition is another tool that you'd like to integrate with your virtual learning environment. So that way when scanned PDFs come about, they're not an issue for your students to be able to use their screen readers appropriately within the VLE. The next thing you want to focus on is, general remediation. So in general remediation, you want to have not only a tool that scans and automates and gives you guidance, as I showed you earlier, but you want a tool that allows you to fix the issue in line. So in Panorama, you can fix about 80% of your accessibility issues in line. And on top of that, what we do is we give you automated guidance and the fix itself. So you can see here that this is a pretty common one with a small font size. We automatically provide the recommendation for you, and then you can apply all those changes in line. So if I'm a faculty member, I don't have the chore of having to go through the entire document. I can simply add that change and automate that process. You also want you want a tool that also infuses a little bit more complex AI. In our cases, we also can generate images and tag them for the faculty members so they can edit it. And so that if you think about the time that it saves them, it will enhance their wanting to engage with the tool, because anytime there's barrier to entry, typically faculty don't want to participate. So we try to make it as easy as possible, including automating the tagging of images within the virtual learning environment. And then lastly, with the remediation, we have capabilities to automate that process with one button. So because we make suggested fixes for about 80% of the issues, if a faculty doesn't want to go through the document one by one, they can simply launch a button and then remediate this entire version and walk away. And it's also key that when you pick a vendor that does something like this, that they actually replace the document in the virtual learning environment. One of the things we've seen is that people have done remediation, and because they do a course copy and the changes don't stick, then they have to do it again. So this way, like our product, if you replace the document in the virtual learning environment, you have that in perpetuity, and then you do not have to worry about remediating that again. All right. And then lastly, we have a self-service portal. So, when you think about students, 40% of them don't request accommodations. Maybe they don't want to disclose it, or they don't know. So this self-service portal are alternative formats. And what the alternative formats do is it basically gives this space for students to request alternative formats without having to ask anyone for the accommodation. PDFs for people who may not have Microsoft Office. If it's a Word document, they can open up in a Chromebook. A text file so that it removes all the distractions. Maybe someone has ADHD or they want to use their screen reader. Of course, an immersive reader so that people can make adjustments. Our immersive reader is actually proprietary to YuJa. That way you can turn things off like language translation if you're teaching a foreign language. But essentially everyone knows an immersive reader. It allows the student to adjust the colors, the contrasts, the contextual meaning of the document, things like that. And you also want one that's going to preserve and save their place. So you notice it opened up already with a different background. So everywhere I go in the immersive reader, it will have that open up to my preference. Gradient reader for dense content. Folks with ADHD that have a problem following dense content, it breaks up the colors. You have an audio podcast, an EPUB for Kindle. A popular one is math formats for the science and engineering. YuJa has the ability to take scanned documents, handwritten documents. You can take those math formats and convert them into narratives. And this is a big issue with accommodations group because they're not experts in math. So this will allow the student to have a self-service portal for that. Braille language translations, especially I've talked to a lot of folks who have students with English as a second language. You want a very robust engine for that. I mean, ours even has Klingon. So for those who are Star Trek fans. And then you want also the ability to have custom formats. So if you have an accommodations group that's servicing a student, deeply, they can add their own customized formats appropriately. So at the end of the day, 3 key takeaways is that you want a system that can automate the scanning, cover those millions of documents and pages for you, align to the WCAG standards. You want to be able to remediate it in line, save your remediation so you don't have the chore of doing it in the future, and you want a self-service portal for your students. That way, if they don't ask for the accommodations, they don't feel like they're second class compared to other students, and it gives them access to the content the same way.